Hey, Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, tough news about the coronavirus comes along with a positive turn at a Lexington hospital. Kentucky leaders warn about scam artists, and UK offers an alternative to March Madness. All that and more is next on Hey, Kentucky. Welcome to Hey Kentucky, along with LEX 18 Sports Director Keith Farmer. Good news, Keith, I have ordered the Girl Scout cookies.
And 5 cases.
Five cases.
Yes. That's a lot to go
They'll
through.
be gone by Tuesday. All right. Let's begin with some of the latest headlines concerning COVID-19 in the Bluegrass, including the news that more than 112,000 Kentuckians filed for unemployment last week, more than double the week before, as part of 6.6 million claims nationwide. Meanwhile, during his daily update yesterday, Governor Beshear showed a model unveiled by the White House, which projects that even with full mitigation measures, the U.S. could see up to 240,000 deaths due to the coronavirus. If you adapt that model to Kentucky, that could mean up to 3,200 in our state alone. But Beshear warns this is a somewhat optimistic scenario.
That's hard to stomach when you look at some of those numbers. Now, I don't want to criticize the White House for it, because it has led them to take the steps of extending their guidance out through April 30th, and that was a good move. But as we share our modeling, I think it's fair to say that we think the danger is greater than this.
There's some good news from Baptist Health Lexington, where doctors used plasma from a recovered COVID-19 patient as a potential treatment for 2 others who were critically ill. And the governor held a conference call with Kentucky school superintendents this afternoon. Now schools in Kentucky will be out until at least May 1st. Keith, I imagine that, that's still floating around, where we just don't go back to school in person the rest of the year. But positive news coming from Baptist, if they can use some plasma to help those who are critically ill.
I love that everybody's trying a little something of everything just to try and make this happen. As for the schools, I'm with you. I just think at this point, let's just let it be. Let's teach them through the rest of this year online. And I mean, if they are able to clear things, maybe we have some proms and things like that, or graduations. But for now, let's just stay out of the classroom.
Yeah, and put the plans in place to just do it that way. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 crisis has brought warnings about scams in Kentucky. Louisville leaders are getting the word out about fake coronavirus testing. Pop-up test locations have been spotted around town, where currently the only legitimate drive-up testing happens at U of L by appointment only. One council leader accused the organizers of the pop-up sites of stealing $240 per person and gathering personal information to make fake Medicare and Medicaid claims, testing people and using the same gloves they used on the person before. Meanwhile, Attorney General Daniel Cameron and others say people are impersonating government agencies. The scam artists are contacting Kentuckians about their stimulus checks, also known as economic impact payments. The scammers claim to need personal and financial information from citizens in order to see if they are eligible for stimulus checks. And Keith, that one I get really throwing people for a loop, because we've never just all been given checks like this. But please know enough to not just drive up somewhere and get swabbed all the way back into your brain for $240.
Yeah. I mean, I wish that I could sit here and say I'm surprised by this and some of these things that we're talking about, but I'm just not. I mean, we have floods and you hear of problems happening, tornadoes, and people come in wanting to fix up your house and this and that and take things away. And just scammers, it's such a shame.
It really is, because we've seen some of the best in humanity come out.
Exactly.
You hate to see the worst. All right, one Western Kentucky community has experienced over 24 COVID-19 cases and 2 deaths that have been tracked back to a religious event from last month. Governor Beshear talked about the case involving a local church revival hosted by a preacher from Texas on March 15th and 16th in Dawson Springs. That's a rural town just outside Madisonville. Health officials say participants did not practice social distancing, and several families soon reported feeling sick. The church posted on social media that the families had the flu and did not encourage its members to self-quarantine. The story has forced state and local leaders to revisit the sensitive topic of asking parishioners to adapt.
There are other ways that you can serve your congregation. There are other ways that you can serve the community. The church has left the building. I saw a T-shirt about that just last week, and it's true. The church is not inside the building. The church is inside your heart.
That was one of several Facebook updates done by the Madisonville mayor and local judge executive. In another video, Kevin Cotton demonstrates a social distancing using a bucket of colored balls. And Keith, that makes as much sense as anything else does. Like, look, you come in contact with all these things if you're not 6 feet apart. But yes, we have had to adapt to church being a little different.
Yeah, most churches we've seen have gone online using Facebook Live or some other way of doing things, some Zoom meetings and things like that. My son has done with his youth group. Even our church, Emmanuel Baptist, is going to do a drive-up Easter. So I think you're just going to drive up and you're going to be able to listen from your car.
That's
but
wonderful.
Don't go in full to a building.
Yeah, and we also know risk people
Yes.
are in churches. So be creative like the rest of us are. All right, a health department just over the border has been able to warn Kentuckians and others who may have been exposed to the coronavirus using contact tracing. The department in Dearborn County, Indiana, has released an extensive list of locations where folks could have come into contact with COVID-19. Among those in Kentucky, an Amazon warehouse, a beauty parlor, and a health facility. The health department Facebook post also lists the dates when an infected person reportedly visited those locations. Keith, this is part of this whole thing that really blows my mind, all the contact tracing.
I just don't even see how you can.
know.
That's too much yarn and pins, like out of those detective kind of things. I just don't see how you can do it. I'm sure it may be easier than we believe it is. But I'm glad that there is somebody out there that can do that and figure that out and help us maybe keep it distanced.
Epidemiologists, we have never needed you like this before. All right, with many people hurting during the coronavirus shutdowns, LEX18 and the Scripps Howard Foundation are teaming with God's Pantry Food Bank for the Hope Over Hunger project. We at the station are encouraging businesses to consider matching our $10,000 donation to help the hungry. If you need help or would like to support the cause, just go to lex18.com/hope. And if you own or manage a business or restaurant that's open and adapting to a new way of serving customers, LEX18 News would like you to share your story by heading to lex18.com/open. There you can submit your business or find links to see restaurants and businesses that are open during the COVID-19 crisis. Well, March Madness may have come and gone without crowning a champion, but UK has announced a different kind of tournament for this month. The university announced a first ever Hoops at Home Twitch tournament for current, former, and future students, as well as alumni and other True Blue fans. Organizers hope to provide the opportunity for players to participate in a distinctive NBA 2K basketball experience by visiting twitch.tv/University of KY. The action begins with a round of 64 on April 10th, leading up to the championship 4 days later. All games will begin at 5 p.m. Fans are encouraged to use the hashtag #HoopsAtHome, Healthy at Home, Better Together UKY, and NBA 2K_UK on their social media channels. Keith, finally, the last 3 weeks have paid off for my son, who has spent all that time playing NBA 2K. All of it.
I think the cool thing about this is we've seen where the NBA stars are going to have one, but they're just doing that one kind of on TV. They're going to show how all of them turned out. With this one and Twitch, you can actually interact with each other, and I don't know, maybe there'll be some former players that are on there. Obviously, DeMarcus Cousins is taking part in that NBA version of it, so maybe we'll see some UK players interact on Twitch with some of the fans.
Brad Calipari's got a Twitch account that he runs all the time, and you see him playing with other guys like Ashton or Emmanuel Quickly or something, so this could be a lot of fun.
Great idea.
All right, now to our weekly feature on Hey Kentucky, What's the Beef? Sponsored by the Kentucky Beef Council. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says President Trump's impeachment trial distracted the federal government from preparing for the coronavirus. Public health experts and others warned about the spread of the virus at the time, but the president says he does not think he would have done any better without the distraction. And that's tonight's edition of What's the Beef? Up next on Hey Kentucky, a U of L researcher continues to track the coronavirus and how many cases and deaths we could end up with here in the Bluegrass. Stay with us.